Imagine being torn from your home, your wrists bound in heavy iron chains, and thrust into a world where your worth is less than a single Roman coin. Picture a boy, barely 16, his back scarred from relentless whippings, toiling under the blistering sun in a land that thrives on his suffering. This was the brutal reality for young male slaves in ancient Rome, a life defined by pain, dehumanization, and the faint flicker of hope for something better. In this video, we'll uncover the raw, unfiltered truth of their existence, the grueling labor, the constant threat of violence, the rare acts of defiance, and the elusive dream of freedom. Stay with me as we step into their world, a story not just of hardship, but of the enduring strength of the human spirit. Ancient Rome was a civilization of breathtaking grandeur, towering aqueducts, majestic temples, and the thunderous roar of the Colosseum. Yet, beneath this veneer of glory lay a grim reality. Slavery was the backbone of Rome's prosperity. Over 30% of its population, millions of souls, lived in chains. Among them, young male slaves, often captured in distant wars or born into servitude, faced lives of unimaginable hardship. Ripped from their families, stripped of their names, and reduced to mere property, these boys and young men endured a world where their survival hinged on obedience and resilience. In this video, we'll explore every facet of their lives, the backbreaking work that broke their bodies, the brutal punishments that scarred their souls, the rare bonds they formed, and the slim chances of ever tasting freedom. This isn't just a history lesson, it's a journey into the heart of human endurance in one of history's most ruthless societies. Who were the young male slaves? Young male slaves in ancient Rome came from every corner of the empire and beyond. Many were prisoners of war, captured during Rome's relentless conquests across Gaul, Britannia, or the eastern provinces. Boys as young as 10, torn from their villages, were marched to Rome in chains, their futures stolen. Others were born into slavery, the children of enslaved mothers, inheriting a life of servitude from their first breath. Some were abandoned infants, rescued only to be raised as property. These young men, aged 10 to 25, were valued for their strength and malleability, seen as ideal for labor-intensive tasks or even as objects of desire in elite households. Regardless of their origins, they shared one fate: a life where their identity was erased, replaced by a single word: service, slave. The harsh realities of daily life, the life of a young male slave, was dictated by their role, and the roles were as varied as they were grueling. In rural estates or latifundia, boys toiled in fields from dawn to dusk, planting crops, harvesting grain, or tending livestock under the watchful eyes of overseers. The work was backbreaking, hours of swinging heavy tools, hauling loads, or digging in the unrelenting heat. In urban settings, slaves worked as household servants, laborers, or craftsmen, carrying water, cleaning villas, or forging tools in sweltering workshops. Food was scarce, often just barley porridge or stale bread, barely enough to sustain their exhausted bodies. Sleep came on straw mats in cramped, filthy quarters, with no respite from the cold or heat. Every moment was controlled, every mistake a risk of punishment. For these young men, life wasn't just hard, it was a constant battle to endure. The constant threat of punishment discipline in ancient Rome was ruthless, and young slaves bore the brunt of it. A single misstep, spilling a master's wine, working too slowly, or even meeting their gaze, could bring swift and brutal consequences. Whippings were common, leaving permanent scars on young backs. Some faced branding with hot irons, marking them as property or runaways. In extreme cases, crucifixion awaited those who defied their masters too boldly. The psychological toll was just as heavy. Slaves lived in perpetual fear, knowing their lives hung on their master's whim. Yet, this fear also bred resilience. Some young slaves learned to navigate their master's moods, using cunning to avoid punishment or gain small favors, a testament to their will to survive in a world designed to crush them. Life in elite households. For some young male slaves, life in Rome's wealthy households offered a different kind of hardship. Chosen for their youth or appearance, these boys served as personal attendants, entertainers, or worse, objects of their master's desires. They poured wine at lavish banquets, cleaned opulent villas, or performed degrading tasks to amuse guests. While they might have eaten better than field slaves and slept in warmer quarters, their lives were no less precarious. A master's favor could vanish in an instant, and jealousy from other slaves or family members could lead to accusations and punishment. These boys walked a tightrope, balancing obedience with the constant risk of exploitation, their youth both a privilege and a curse in the eyes of Rome's elite. Bonds and resistance. Despite their oppression, young male slaves found ways to forge connections and resist. In the cramped slave quarters or during rare moments of rest, they shared stories of their homelands, whispered dreams of freedom, or taught each other small skills to survive. These bonds, though fragile, were lifelines, offering a sense of humanity in a dehumanizing world. Some dared to resist more openly, stealing food, sabotaging work, or even attempting escape, though runaways faced brutal recapture and punishment. The story of Spartacus, a former slave who led a rebellion in 73 BCE, inspired many, even if such uprisings were rare and often doomed. These acts of defiance, however small, were sparks of hope, proof that their spirits could not be fully broken. The elusive dream of freedom was a distant dream for most young male slaves, but it wasn't impossible. Manumission, the act of a master granting freedom, was a rare reward for exceptional service or loyalty. A young slave who saved his master's life, or who earned enough through small allowances to buy his freedom, might become a libertus, a freedman. However, freedom came with strings. Many freedmen remained tied to their former masters as clients, obligated to serve them in new ways. Others, especially those in rural estates, never saw such an opportunity, their lives consumed by labor until death. The hope of freedom, though slim, kept them going, a faint light in the darkness of their existence. The legacy of their suffering. The lives of young male slaves were the unseen foundation of Rome's glory. Their sweat built its aqueducts, their pain fed its armies, and their suffering enriched its elite. Yet, their stories are often overshadowed by tales of emperors and conquests. By remembering them, we honor their resilience, their ability to endure, to form bonds, to resist, and to hope against all odds. Their legacy reminds us that even in the darkest moments of history, the human spirit fights to survive. As we marvel at Rome's ruins today, let's not forget the hands that built them, hands that belonged to boys and young men whose names we may never know. The world of ancient Rome was built on the backs of young male slaves, their lives a testament to both human cruelty and unbreakable resilience. If this journey into their reality moved you, hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe for more untold stories from history. Drop a comment below. What struck you most about their lives? Let's keep their stories alive, because history isn't just about the victors, it's about the forgotten, too.